So, what do you think about this? Do you think there is any link between pay and efficiency? Pay and corruption?
If pay is less, then we will do more corruption also. That is why their needs is high.
There is a link between pay and corruption. So जब corruption तभी करता है जब उसको salary उसको fulfill नहीं कर रहा है. Satisfy नहीं हुआ तो वो it doesn't matter how much pay you give because we can never match the amount of corruption that is being done. Yes. Yes, sir, because if the mindset is corrupt, then you will never be satisfied with the amount of pay that is. कितना पे पड़ा?
Right. So we'll go by service motive.
Who told them to join the bureaucracy? Many of the people, they resign from corporate job and they prepare for civil service. Who said them to prepare? They know that this much they will get. I will get this much salary. But let's say they know that apart from the salary, I will get this much. That's why they are leaving the corporate job. IIM graduates are also performing for civil services. Who said them to join? There are many other jobs. They can start the but let's say, even we all have come here, we all know that how much is the fair water. Let's say we all have know the fair, but there is no, say, let's say the pay is less, that's not there. The mindset is like even after teaching ethics also. You need to justify that pay and that corruption. It's all in the mind.
Good to see such response. Ripple effect. Yes. अभी तक बोले नहीं थे.
नेता लोग की सैलरी वगैरह कम नहीं की जा रही है क्योंकि वो करप्शन वगैरह ना कर सके, मतलब करप्शन से दूर रहे, लेकिन फिर भी वो करप्शन कर रहे हैं. और एग्जांपल में हम लोग रतन टाटा का देखते हैं, उनके पास पैसा बहुत है, फिर भी वो करप्शन वगैरह पे नहीं ध्यान दे रहे. सर पैसा गलत नहीं होता, बंदा गलत होता है सर.
What do you think about them? Do you think that कि IAS others का pay less gap होना चाहिए? So because IAS pays better than all other services. So all others are demanding that their pay should also be increased, and it should be at least parity, means bridging the gap. This. So that aspect we can say that. What do you think about this?
So we don't have any control over private sector. How can we say that there will be parity? Private is very different.
Should there be parity? Think again.
The job nature is very different. You cannot be balanced.
Job nature is different, but peer pressure. देखो एक लेवल के बाद मान लो आप IAS बनते हो तो उसका एक ऑरा होता है, उसके एक लेवल के बाद मान लो आपका कोई भाई है उसको $1 million मिलते हैं, राइट, और आपके मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर में पोस्टेड है, isn't it? And day in day out, संडे भी नहीं मिलता है कई बार, और भाई साहब को तो पता ही है सैटरडे संडे, isn't it? और घूम रहे हैं यहाँ से वहाँ, राइट, तो फैमिली प्रेशर होता है, राइट, तुम सिर्फ नाम के IAS हो, बच्चों को क्या मतलब है कि IAS हो कि क्या, isn't it? फैमिली को तो एक लाइफ स्टाइल से मतलब होता है, फैमिली को उससे मतलब नहीं है कई बार कि आप IAS है. Can we say? Anyhow, that's not the point. Point is that should there be parity, right? If not parity, but we need to bridge it. The gap should be bridged. This you should know that.
Sir, how important is the gap? Are we talking about reduction in private salary or are we talking about increase in government?
Certainly, private salary we cannot reduce.
Then the government salary can never match the amount of private.
No. Western countries have almost, let's say, matchable level.
No, but like in India,
Then,
the amount of
so in Western countries, you should know that ki salary in private sector, salary in public sector, very less gap you'll find. Almost it is matchable. They'll pay parity. And many a time, even in our country, government pays better than private. This you should know that. Do you know that ki average pay in government is better than average pay in private sector? Why it is possible?
But like while we're comparing, we are comparing with what kind of positions are private sector, because private sector is in itself is not very vast. So a person who is capable of becoming an civil servant, he can obviously aim at the top positions in private sector. So are we comparing at that level or are we comparing at the average pay at private?
That it is almost obvious. Let's say you become IAS and they are IIM graduates. So when any IIM graduate gets a salary, let's say when he gets a job, so what salary he gets? When IAS, so what IAS gets salary? That way it is comparison. This. There is no any objective standard ki this is the post, this is the comparison. Like suppose you have given 10 years in government service and someone has given 10 years in private sector, then what is the level of salary? This you can consider. So that way we can see.
If there is not pay parity, then can we connect it with the opportunity cost concept?
Yes, it is also opportunity cost, you can say. When we have lateral entry, we are trying to bridge the gap between public and private sector. Remember that we told in beginning that gradually we have to bridge the gap between public and private sector. In fact, across the sectors, you have to bridge the gap so that people can easily join. Someone wants to join military, can join military. Someone wants to join PSUs, so let him join. And then he wants to quit, wants to join private, so let him join. Ultimately, this is the future level of human resource development. Right, because future human resource development is not going to be as stable as of now. This, it is not going to be this, and that's why let's say Western countries, if you see, the Western countries have almost switched to that practice. Like even in UK, let's say there is lateral entry contract in secretariat. The contractual people are working there on the basis of their expertise and performance, even if it has rank classification. This, but still we have a long tenure, let's say that system. This, in future, it is not going to work. So when future it is not going to work, the interoperability will be right. Interoperability, that you have the concept now. So there can be, let's say, if the gap is bridged, then let's say that it is quite possible. Right. Although pay parity is not demanded as of now. Next, public service motive. Should we give it public service motive as basis and then we should not focus on salary? Or we should also focus on salary? See, there is no limit of any such pay that you can say it will be satisfactory. It is always comparative. It is always based on how others are paying. अभी पूरे वर्ल्ड में सैलरीज डिक्रीज कर दो तो वही स्टैंडर्ड हो जाएगा, राइट? और अभी सैलरी इंक्रीज कर दो वही स्टैंडर्ड हो जाएगा, राइट? In fact, I say in my such a small organization, when we have any such talk, we say that, see, we cannot pay your work. Pay is a symbolic thing. If you think that we are paying you for your work, it cannot be done. Pay is based on what institution can pay and what market is determining, right? Which is not objective. The pay is a way of our relationship. This you can say that. But you think you are being paid as per your work, forget about it. I don't take it in that way. Right. Many a time, let's say that a person can contribute something which can help our survival of organization. But you don't pay to that person. Anyhow, that will become a bit ideal. To some extent, let's say, already we have dealt organization theory, motivation theory. Pay has its influence on efficiency and it is related to corruption. Although good pay is not a guarantee that there would not be corruption. But bad pay does have influence on corruption. This is how the link. Because people should be relieved, relaxed. If you are getting healthy pay, you will have less stress. On day-to-day life, you have less stress. बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो उनको क्या चाहिए? They say that क्या चाहिए हमें? There are so many people that those who have, let's say, a healthy life, they have a bit wealth, etc. So they are not tensed. Right. Security and stability are important. In that security, stability, money is an important factor. Already we have told in your motivation theory. Right. जब तक पैसा है पॉकेट में, मीन्स वॉलेट में भी, so टेंशन नहीं होता है, isn't it? और जैसे जैसे पैसा, टेंशन शुरू होता है. तो अभी तो आपको that does not force you to do wrong things, right? But जो लोग बिल्कुल जिनके पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, right? वो क्या करेंगे? This you have to understand. So healthy pay should be there. That's why you should say banks. If you take banks, teachers, will say that the banks and teachers, the banks, those who work in banks, they get a bit healthy pay. But let's take police. Police does not get healthy pay. Do you know this? अब जाकर के थोड़ा 6 पे कमीशन के बाद चेंज हुआ है, नहीं तो उनका पे बहुत कम होता है. क्यों भाई? अनस्किल्ड जॉब है, राइट? वो 6th पे कमीशन के बाद, राइट? 6th पे कमीशन के बाद, उसके पहले तक काफी कम होता था, राइट? So this is how. there was a very open saying that the salary, let's say, they cannot meet their both ends by salary. That is how, let's say that. In fact, fifth pay commission told that since civil services are corrupt, their salaries should not be increased. Fifth pay commission. Yes. So there we can have, let's say that such kind of link. Even Kautilya, let's say that talks. Kautilya has given emphasis. Maslow talks. So Maslow also talks that basic needs of the people should be fulfilled. When basic needs are fulfilled, you are relaxed, relieved. Right. Like say day-to-day life, if you have your like say breakfast, lunch, dinner, etc. Day-to-day life you are getting these all things. So these things do not trouble you. But when you are not getting, when you are not getting, isn't it? Does it trouble? So you ask to those people who struggle for that. Right. So you focus to your study. इसलिए पेरेंट्स आपको टाइम पे ब्रेकफास्ट देते होंगे, isn't it? अभी नहीं, पहले. ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच, डिनर, isn't it? So that कि सिर्फ काम है तुम्हारा पढ़ना. So you are relieved by this. Our physical environment, let's say that physical environment, the room that you live, it has proper ventilation, AC, isn't it? All these things, right? The physical environment is also if good, so you are not stressed, right? Water is also coming, but at times water is not coming, power supply is not there, so what happens? You get stressed. This. So the role of money can be like that. It relieves you, it relaxes you, rather than let's say that it creates any this kind of thing that no, there will not be corruption. And that is how, let's say, Western countries, if you say that, Western countries, a person who does even cleaning job, he gets healthy pay. This. When a cleaning job he does, means very sweeping level job he does, he gets a healthy pay. Right. But in our country, let's say, still we do not have a healthy pay structure, a rationalized structure. Rather, some gets more pay, less work. Some have more work, less pay. This you can say this. We are trying to increase the pay, but pay is still not rationalized in our society. Like say teachers in the primary school, isn't it?
It's depend on mindset as well. Because my one or two friends, one is working in the private sector, second is working in a government sector. Her salary is higher than the private sector friend, and every time she talk about कि मेरी salary कम है, even she is getting more 80K, and her salary, another friend's salary is very less, but she is very cool and open-minded. कोई नहीं, because on government sector employee they get chance to do corruption. That is not in private sector. That it can be happen.
No. It's mindset that can be considered. But let's say we were saying that a teacher is getting salary at, let's say, primary school level. It is considered a very good salary, you know that. It is considered very good salary. But still they are not involved in teaching. They can say that their salary is less. This. So why they say that salary less, they may have their own aspect. We are saying that let's across the sector in public sector, do we have a rational pay structure? Right. Yes. Yes, that is 17,000 around, 17,500. This is the, let's say that lowest level of salary. This the government has. Less than that you cannot pay. But that's not the point. Point is that are you performing to the level of the, let's say that pay you get. This. So that also the concern. Hence, there can be several such problems, but what we are just trying to say is that the pay should be healthy so that it does not have stress on people, and people should focus on their task, they should focus on their work. It should not unnecessarily bring moral temptation. But even pay is better, that does not mean it may result into honesty. Fifth pay commission had a different view. Sixth pay commission increased the pay so that the corruption would reduce. Whether it has happened? Can we say that the sixth pay, after when pay has been increased, corruption has reduced? No. You cannot have such empirical evidence. Rather, you find more corruption. Report of more corruption. The corruption will not automatically reduce. Right. To tackle corruption, you have to take another set of steps. Right. But it will not automatically reduce. This you should know. So, this is what we have to understand. However, let's say that there are both concerns. Nowadays, under the influence of new public management, when we have new public management, in that there is more and more a culture of incentivization. Should performance be incentivized in public sectors? Should performance be incentivized? It has also its pros and cons. It has pros and cons. That is how it has both sides. When you incentivize performance, then people will try to perform in those areas where it is easy to perform. Then difficult tasks people will not take. This is right, because government has lots of challenges. Government operates in a very complex environment. Let's say you know that you will not go to those states where there are highly disturbed states, or those states where there is a more politicized environment. You like to be posted for those jobs, those functions, those departments where performance can be easily, or the performance criteria, if it has been defined, so you will work for those aspects. So, who will work for, this is how we told that, chronic problems, serious problems, which demand long-term solution, nobody will try to solve. Yes, that is how. So, if you are incentivizing, it has its challenge. If you are not incentivizing, it has also its challenge. Right, because incentives, etc., have become now part and parcel, let's say that. The government should incentivize, but those incentives should be more in kind rather than in cash. This, it should be more non-monetary in nature, you can say that. Less monetary in nature. This, that we should say. Yes, that can be, let's say, that can be done. That is how, let's say, that we have to determine that structure, the rational structure of incentive. But it has a rider is that people may start focusing on those areas only, and other problems may not be addressed. Government faces time to time challenges. In those challenging situations, again people will become more cautious about their performance rather than tackling the challenge. आपने क्रिकेट में देखा ही है कभी कभी क्या होता है. The personal records become more important than team interest. This, so that we will find this. So that can be a challenge, let's say. Then, yes, to some extent it is possible. Like say those who are posted in hazardous areas, difficult areas, like say Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, the government is now paying more to them. This you should know that. District magistrate in Chhattisgarh, he gets better pay, means more pay than a district magistrate in Uttar Pradesh. No, but in those situations, let's say COVID crisis. The COVID crisis में तो salary ही नहीं दिया government ने. Forget about incentives. There was deduction in salary. You should know that. Right. But it has increased. It has made it more attractive. This. Anyhow, do you think that these things are still very, let's say, determinant factors in civil services, especially in Indian situation? See, Western countries do not have challenges like the challenges we have. ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. यूएस का कोई इंटरनल, आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड ना, उनका कोई चैलेंज नहीं है इंटरनल थ्रेट टू यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी. राइट, वो दूसरे को थ्रेट करते हैं, अपने आप को नहीं. तो उनका कोई चैलेंज नहीं है. अब थोड़ा थोड़ा आ रहा है खालिस्तान. तो कमिंग टाइम में 50 इयर्स में वो भी फेस करेंगे. राइट, जब एशियंस वहां थोड़ा सा रूटेड हो जाएंगे. Right. So future is going to be chaotic in international relation. Right. Anyhow, the question is that, right, they don't have challenge, but we have lots of challenges. And when we have lots of challenges, plus at the same time we are economically not as better as they are. Therefore, we cannot have their pattern of pay structure. Although ideally or today or tomorrow you have to bridge the gap. Pay should be healthy, you can consider, and a pay should have a link with work and, let's say, that performance. That is how we have to understand. This is what we have to tell, but at the same time, since it is public sector, in any country public sector, still public sector demands public service motive, because many activities and tasks you cannot incentivize. This. Let's say that anyone who is a secretary, anyone who is cabinet secretary, anyone who is chief secretary, anyone who is DGP, आप उसको incentivize नहीं कर सकते. He is beyond that, isn't it? Don't you think he should work beyond that? Right. He should set certain precedents, right? Rather than being concerned about incentive. That's why, let's say, it should be kept above that. If government is still incentivizing, it is good. If it is not incentivizing, it is also good. Two-factor theory, motivating factors. Right. So they should be more having motivating factors rather than hygiene factors, because the nature of task and challenges teach them that they should rise above that. Otherwise, we may not be able to do justice. Many a time incentives and rewards etc. can be very, let's say that they can look very small before those roles played by the officers. Like say TN session. What reward you will give? The kind you can give. Padma Vibhushan you can give. Padma Shri you can give. Right, but certainly not incentives. This you should know that. Our national security advisor or others, let's say. So they rise above that. That's why Binod Rai once remarked that those who want incentives, they should not join civil services. Right. Civil services should be joined by those persons who have public service spirit. This. Ethically also, people should have public service spirit, isn't it? Selflessness. You should know that. Our Gita philosophy also talks about Nishkam Karma. So philosophically also, ethically also, you should be selfless. And in civil services also, Nolan Committee has given 7 principles, and first principle is considered as selflessness. This. And Nolan Committee was constituted in UK, not in India. It means, let's say, public service motive is all across the countries. You can say that it is not only related to our country. So we can have a pay structure, rational pay structure. Let's say we can have less gap between public and private sector, IAS and others. We should give incentives, but above all, there should be public service spirit. That is how we have to understand. This is what we have to write. So let's write on this. Yes. There are pay principles. There are pay principles. First, equal pay for equal work. Equal pay for equal work. Next, efficiency criteria. Efficiency criteria. Next, economic condition of state. Economic condition of state. In bracket, paying capacity of government. Paying capacity of state. Next, state as a model employer. State as a model employer. Model employer in bracket. Not by paying more. Not by paying more, but by setting a benchmark. By setting a benchmark. Next, cost of living. Cost of living. Next, difficulty and hazardous nature of job. Difficulty and hazardous nature of job. Next, other factors including inflation. Other factors including inflation. Including inflation. It's in paragraph. Both public and private sectors. Both public and private sector have a pay system. A pay system based on evolution of both sectors. Both sectors. Which is also guided by the above principles. Guided by the above principles. Guided by the above principles. Determining pay in relation to work. Determining pay in relation to work. Depends on first the above principles. First the above principles. Second, opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Next, competitiveness. Competitiveness in job market. Competitiveness in job market. Same paragraph. Pay in civil services. Pay in civil services. Civil services was used to be determined by pay commission. Pay commission set up every 10 years. Set up every 10 years. But after 7th pay, this practice has been discontinued. After 7th pay commission, this practice has been discontinued. Discontinued. This practice has been discontinued. In other countries, pay is linked to inflation index. Pay is linked to inflation index. Inflation index. India has also adopted similar practice. India has also adopted similar practice. Similar practice. There are following facts related to pay practices. There are following facts related to pay practices. First, average pay in public sector is better than average pay in private sector. Average pay in public sector is better than average pay in private sector. Average pay in private sector, in bracket you can write sixth pay commission. Sixth pay commission. Next, private sector has higher pay at middle and higher level. Private sector has higher pay at middle and higher level as against government, which has higher pay towards bottom level. Towards bottom level. Next, private sector has a strong link between pay and performance. Private sector has a strong link between pay and performance. Government has emphasis on public service motive. Public service motive. Public service motive. Due to changes in society, 1980s onwards, including LPG, NPM, rise of corporate sector, competitiveness in job market, on the one hand, and on the other, general perception that first, in government sector pay is less. Second, low pay is a cause of corruption. Low pay is cause of corruption in public sector. There is a lack of link between pay and performance. Hence, paragraph. The government has started facing challenges. Related to pay structure. And it has tried to and it has tried to adopt corporate practices. Adopt corporate practices. Corporate practices. That first, pay has been increased. Pay has been increased in bracket since 6th pay commission. Since 6th pay commission. Next, incentives have been introduced. Incentives have been introduced to bring link between pay and performance. To bring link between pay and performance, like performance linked incentive scheme. Like performance linked incentive scheme 2011. 2011. Giving rewards to young officers to recognize their performance. On the occasion of Civil Service Day. On the occasion of Civil Service Day. Civil Service Day. However, there is still view that first, there should be pay parity with private sector. Pay parity with private sector. Next, there should be pay parity between IAS and other services. IAS and other services. Next, pay should be strongly linked to performance. Pay should be strongly linked to performance. Next, pay should be rationalized across public sector. Pay should be rationalized across public sector organizations. That's it. Pay and efficiency. Pay and efficiency. Okay. There is a strong link between pay and efficiency. Pay and efficiency. As it is one principle of pay. It is one principle of pay. Pay. Pay is one such ego need. Pay is one such ego need or basic need. Basic need, which also determines status. Which also determines status and attracts meritorious people. Attracts meritorious people in general. In general. In general. In bracket, Maslow hierarchy of needs. Maslow hierarchy of needs. That's all. Just a link. आप जो बोल रहे हैं, pay does decide. Let's say many a time campus selection, no. So whatever you want to say, but it is not that you are money minded. but it does have its influence. Many times, let's say that you go, let's say job, etc. You are motivated. Many people are motivated to work in UAE. Why they want to work in UAE? It is also not that they are money minded, but it is that they get opportunity to earn more. This, this is how I can say that. It may not be true for civil services, but all are not joining civil services only on service motive. This you should also know. All are not joining for only service motive. That aspect should be taken. This way we can consider. So that is how it is. Let's write next. Pay and corruption link. Pay and corruption. A decent pay is considered important. A decent pay is considered important for reducing stress on people. Reducing stress on people against corruption. Reducing stress on people against corruption. It relieves people. It relieves people from day-to-day stress and strain. Day-to-day stress and strain. And hence it has been linked with corruption. Linked with corruption. Corruption. Even by Kautilya. Even by Kautilya. He was of view that, not present Kautilya, he was of view that first, state should have a good economic system. State should have good economic system. Good economic system for its increased capability to pay more. For its increased capability to pay more. Second, increased capability to pay more. Next, civil servants should be paid more. Civil servants should be paid more. That's why the highest pay was 48,000 panas. During Kautilya time, as per 2015, 1 pana is equal to कैलकुलेट कर लो कितना होता है. How much? It is annual salary. Yes. कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी का अभी सैलरी क्या है? Right. And that's also 2015. Right. अगर ये अभी 2015 को 23 कर दो तो क्या हो जाएगा? इससे ज्यादा ही होगा. Isn't it? Yes. अभी ज्यादा इन्फ्लेशन है. रुपीज डिक्लाइन. 2015 में रुपी जो भी था अभी इट हैज फर्दर डिक्लाइंड. करते क्या थे, राइट, इजिप्ट जाते होंगे। गुड क्वेश्चन। करते क्या थे, yes, yes, yes. Yes, it is good question कि what they used to do. Right. But very less facts we have knowledge about society. Society होती कैसी थी, this you can say. Whatever some facts you get in Arthashastra, that is how it is interpreted, right? This, तो ये आज के लिए लगता होगा, ये उस समय के लिए भी होगा. But the idea is that he says that we should pay better. This, that is how it is. Next. Even Maslow hierarchy of needs. Even Maslow hierarchy of needs. Maslow hierarchy of needs is about fulfilling basic needs of people. Fulfilling basic needs of people. Basic needs of people. Since in Western countries, basic needs are fulfilled. Basic needs are fulfilled. People have less stress. Less stress as against developing countries or in comparison to developing countries. In comparison to developing countries that have high stress against corruption. Right. That's why there is high incidence of bribes, adulterations, black marketing, and other such practices which have given rise to an acceptable bribe culture. अब वो एक कल्चर बन जाता है, तो जब वो कल्चर बन जाता है तो उसमें जस्टिफाई करना मुश्किल है, मतलब उसमें ये लिंक करना मुश्किल है कि लो पे से करप्शन हो रहा है, बट इट क्रिएट्स स्ट्रेस. यू कैन सी दैट हाउ इट क्रिएट्स स्ट्रेस. एंड लेट्स से कि कोई एक ऑटो वाला है तो वो मीटर से क्यों नहीं जाना चाहता, यू नो इट, स्ट्रेस, राइट, स्ट्रेस इन लाइफ. Is it like that? Yes. नहीं, देखो अभी क्या है कि प्रॉब्लम एक सॉल्व नहीं होगा. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. वो एक कल्चर बन गया, राइट. तो कल्चर बन गया तो लोग आ रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट में वो जॉब करने के लिए नहीं. बस तो नेक्स्ट लेवल का प्रॉब्लम है कि एक बार सैलरी बढ़ गया फिर भी वर्क नहीं परफॉर्म हो रहा है, देन गवर्नमेंट हैज अ लॉस. देयर इज अ लेस लिंक बिटवीन परफॉर्मेंस एंड पे. दैट इशू विल कम टुवर्ड्स एंड. तो अभी गवर्नमेंट को कंसर्न ये है कि वर्क इज नॉट व्हाट इन टर्म्स ऑफ पे दे आर गेटिंग, राइट. So when work is not what in terms of pay they are getting, so then the thing is that you are paying more. Like say you are paying more to a government teacher, but still they are not teaching. Right. But that problem we cannot talk. First we have to talk the basic problems. The basic problems are related to this, that pay and let's say that performance or pay and corruption, pay and efficiency, pay and parity, all these things. So we can say what we are talking, what we are saying on this. I lost that. Yes, let's say that people on day-to-day basis, let's observe on day-to-day basis. Why let's say that a sabji means vegetable seller, why he weigh less? Why? वो 1 किलो आपको नहीं देता है, आपको पता होना चाहिए. राइट, आप थोड़ा सा इधर उधर देखना, उसके बाद देखना. वैसे ही बैलेंस, वो बैलेंस होता है नहीं, वो ऑलरेडी इम्बैलेंस है. राइट, उसका जो बैलेंस है वो बैलेंस है ही नहीं. ये आजकल तो मशीन होता है, वेइंग मशीन, this you can say, and you have a weight and measures department. Right. The weight and measures department क्या करता है? You know, right. So why they are doing it? एक किराना शॉप वाला है या एक ऑटो रिक्शा वाला है या एक वेजिटेबल सेलर है, why they are doing this? Stress. Right. Let's take from their problem perspective. It is stress. Right. अगर आप किसी एक ऑटो रिक्शा वाले से पूछेंगे, कभी पूछ के देखना वो क्या कहता है आज के डेट में. राइट, इसलिए कि हमारा थोड़ा गैप हो गया है एक्सपीरियंस. सो द क्वेश्चन इज दैट they have to, let's say, pay house rent. House rent is, you know that how it is. Then they have to pay for their children fees, let's say school fees, then their private tuitions fee. Right. In fact, every family, let's say that family has a huge stress of education. Our education fee cost is very high. This, and that puts lots of stress. And fee is not only चलो कि एक बार स्कूल में फी पे कर दिया तो हो गया. ट्यूशन फी इज हायर देन स्कूल फी. और सारे को सबको पता है कि स्कूल से एजुकेशन से कुछ होगा नहीं, कोटा जाना ही है. Anyhow, तो पेरेंट्स आर स्ट्रेस्ड. और एक ऑटो रिक्शा वाला, let's say whatever he earns, if you talk to them, it is almost input output level. School fee, health, day to day, house rent, he is always under stress. You think about yourself ना, आपका पैसा कम होता है तो कितना स्ट्रेस होता है. सबको होता है, हमको भी होता है. ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी. राइट, बट उनका तो सिचुएशन बहुत ही हैंड टू माउथ. राइट, 5 दिन आप स्ट्राइक कर दो, 5 दिन ऑटो नहीं चलेगा, फिर देखो. राइट, डेफिसिट में आ जाएंगे. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड स्ट्रेस. अब वो इस स्ट्रेस में हिज विजडम विल नॉट वर्क. You should know this. Once you are in stress, your wisdom does not work properly. And hence you are forced, means you can do wrong things. Right. And you will not feel that you are doing wrong thing, rather you will justify it. This. Anyhow, other things you can say, that does not mean that we are justifying. We are not justifying that he should charge more than what the right, what the meter, let's say that he says. It is not like that. We are not justifying adulteration, but who will reduce that stress? So that is a problem in a transitional economy. The economy is not in a position to fulfill the aspirations and needs of people. This. Anyhow, and that is how, let's say that the same thing happen with people, those who are doing job. This you can consider. Like say police, there is an article, although we tell in law and order chapter, but there is an article, you should read it. Anatomy of police station. It is a Hindu article, the Hindu article written when police station was burnt in Uttar Pradesh. And Subodh Kumar was, Inspector Subodh Kumar Singh was murdered. Right. Then this article was written. You read it, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि पुलिस को कितना पे मिलता है और उनका खर्च कैसे चलता है और स्टेशन का कैसे खर्च चलता है. This is how you should know that. So then आपको ये रियलाइज होगा कि इनको पे अभी भी या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अभी भी it is not adequate that they should not have stress. Since they do not get adequate pay or let's say infrastructure, they are forced to take bribe from people. Right? But उनका खर्च कई बार bribe से चलता है. This you should know that. How? So you have given one bullet and one jeep. और डेली डीजल लिमिट फिक्स कर दिया. मैंने एनपीए में बताया था. तो जीप क्या रोक देगा बीच में जहां डीजल खत्म हो गया. राइट. यस. कोई अगर पुलिस फैमिली से होगा तो वो जानता होगा मोर डिटेल में. राइट. नुआंसेस. राइट. राइट. So you can share if you have any such knowledge. Right. तो वो एक कल्चर बन गया. बेसिकली वो क्या हुआ, एक कल्चर बन गया. एक प्रॉब्लम था पहले बट वो प्रॉब्लम एक कल्चर बन गया. Yes, you can say that. People will have lots of stories, isn't it? Let's write. Right. Yes. So let's write on that. What we have written last? Yes. Let's. Therefore, if there is a healthy economic system and pay structure, including wages, there would be reduction in stress. Against corruption. Although it is not a guarantee against corruption. It is not a guarantee against corruption. Change paragraph. Pay parity. There should be rationalized pay structure. So that it is based on equal pay to equal work. And also addresses opportunity cost factor. In past there used to be demand. By IPS, IRS, by IPS, IRS that they should have pay parity with IAS. Pay parity with IAS. Now, since government has adopted performance and integrity as criteria. Government has adopted performance and integrity as criteria for promotion towards joint secretary and above. Towards top. Nowadays, there is less gap. Than towards bottom of services. Like even non-IAS officers have been appointed joint secretary and above. Hence, there should be less pay disparity. Although it cannot be completely eliminated. There should be less pay disparity, although it cannot be completely eliminated. It is also to maintain disparity at beginning level. It is also important to maintain disparity at beginning level for motivating candidates to apply for different jobs. Next, pay parity with private sector. There is peer pressure. Especially from private sector. As they get better pay than civil servants. Since there is increased convergence between public and private sector in the era of NPM and LPG. Peer pressure has increased. Hence, government cannot avoid such pressures. At the same time, human resource development practices are changing. Like contract-based employment, contract-based employment, lateral entry, lateral entry, lateral entry. Therefore, pay disparity should be minimized. Pay disparity should be minimized. Pay disparity should be minimized. In future, the convergence will increase. In future, the convergence will increase and there would be more interoperability. There will be more interoperability in human resource practices. In human resource practices. Human resource practices. Okay. His demand a reduction in pay disparity. Pay disparity. Western countries have less pay gap. Western countries have less pay gap between public and private sector. Public and private sector. That's why they have a greater level of interoperability practices. Interoperability practices. However, there are two concerns. First, pay and incentive should not become a matter of greediness or too much of ego need fulfillment. Matter of greediness or too much of ego need fulfillment. Otherwise, public service motive will be compromised. Otherwise, public service motive will be compromised. No matter what one says, but the fact is, selflessness and public service remain core values of civil services. Also highlighted by Nolan Committee. Next, second, pay and performance link. Remains very poor in public sector. That even if pay has increased, but performance has not improved. Which demands a professional approach a professional approach of bringing in place domain specialization, performance appraisal, and promotion based on performance, not only on seniority. Hence, it can be stated that pay remains an important factor. Influencing dynamics of human behavior. In organization. Influencing dynamics of human behavior in organization, including the present debates in India. Like one rank, one pension, and new pension scheme versus old pension scheme.